And to unpack this, I am joined by Bolu Michael-Biyi, foreign policy analyst. Good evening from here. Let me kick off by asking, this conflict between Russia and Ukraine has been on for long. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, in Lord Acton's letter to Bishop Creighton said that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. For Russia, this war is about gaining absolute power over the neighboring countries, and for Ukraine, it's about maintaining their territorial integrity. In addition, Russia is all about maintaining its influence beyond the region of Europe, but all over the world. But is that the case right now? No, that's not the case. What we're having instead is the destruction of life and properties on both ends, and it becomes more complicated, being that there's no resolution so far in anywhere in several months, because both parties are not willing to sit at the table. And even when one party wants to sit, the other does not. So it's high time the international community began to call both sides together in order to have a negotiated settlement.
So what are the likely implications of Russia's refusal to attend the proposed peace summit in November? And then how will this affect the chances of a negotiated settlement to the conflict?
Well, this question reminds me of the philosophical question that if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, will it make a sound? It takes two to tango in a conflict like this, so there can't be any way forward if Russia is deciding not to sit at the negotiation table. It only means that Ukraine will be talking to itself. But the implication of this is that the war will be ongoing. And when the war is ongoing, it means that there will be continuous destruction of lives and properties. So it's a really complicated issue. And, I just hope that, that there will be enough pressure on both sides to sit and actually discuss their issues.
How about Ukraine's request for this long-range weapons and also ramped-up sanctions against Russia? How does it align with the goals of its victory plan? And what are the potential risks and benefits of this approach?
Sometimes I don't really understand Zelensky. It confuses me at times. I mean that I don't understand why he's having a victory plan at this stage of the war. It's like calling victory before the end of the war, and that can actually provoke Russia, to answer your question, it does align with their victory plan. Should Russia decide to bulldoze out, in the sense that it will put pressure on, it will weaken the economy and the military strength of Russia, and that might pressure them to negotiate and sit at the table. On the flip side, it has the risk being that Russia can choose to retaliate. They have these weapons, they have these long-range missiles, and they can actually ramp up their military supplies in a second through other countries that support them. So there's a chance that Russia would retaliate because they possess these weapons as well.
Okay, let's talk about the key obstacles to Ukraine's accession to NATO. How can alliance's defense ministers address these challenges during their upcoming talks?
Okay, I think the key obstacle before Ukraine is the fact that they cannot join NATO right now. The war itself is the Ukraine's obstacle, meaning that NATO ordinarily does not admit countries that have ongoing conflict or are unstable in any way. And the chances that they're going to concede or give Ukraine a concession is very low, being that it will set a negative precedence and for any other country in the future that may be in Ukraine's situation, they will always make reference to the concession they made for Ukraine, if you get what I mean. And so the second obstacle before them is the NATO member states, being that, they might fear that if they admit Ukraine, it would provoke Russia, and Russia may come for them either militarily or through economic sanctions or other means. So in order to protect their own security or their territorial integrity and their economy, they may choose to not support Ukraine joining NATO. So what the defense ministers can do, pending when Ukraine can join NATO, is to actually ramp up Ukraine defense systems while they look for ways that they can manage their relationship with Russia wisely.
Well, thank you so much for your time on the news. Bolu Michael-Biyi, foreign policy analyst. Many thanks indeed.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go on a short break. When we return,